The village of Kilima nestled at the foot of a sprawling savanna. Golden sunlight bathed the land, nourishing fields of maize and cassava. Yet a shadow stretched over Kilima, the shadow of Chief Mbogo. His heart held no warmth, his eyes saw only possessions. Fear, not respect, was his companion.
Chief Mbogo ruled with an iron fist. His word was law, unquestionable and absolute. Villagers toiled under his gaze, surrendering half their harvest to his ever-growing storehouses. Those who dared complain met swift and brutal punishment. A word against him could see a man stripped naked in the market square, his dignity stolen along with his crops.
Mbogo's greed knew no bounds. He coveted the land, the livestock, even the meager possessions of his people. His desires were a bottomless pit, consuming the spirit of Kilima. Mothers hushed their children's laughter, fearing it might reach Mbogo's ears and be misconstrued as mockery. The elders, their backs bent with age and worry, spoke of him only in hushed whispers.
Kilima, once alive with the rhythm of drums and laughter, now echoed with silence. The villagers, their heads bowed low, accepted their fate. They believed resistance was futile, like a lone ant challenging a mighty elephant.
Mama Amina, her face etched with the wisdom of seasons, tilled her small plot of land with quiet dignity. Her wrinkled hands coaxed life from the soil, providing for herself and her grandson, Jabari.
One scorching afternoon, Mbogo's tax collectors descended upon Mama Amina's land. Mama Amina, her voice trembling with indignation, dared to protest. They tore the deed, scattering its fragments to the wind. Mama Amina, her eyes blazing with defiance, stood her ground. Jabari, his young heart aflame with anger, witnessed the injustice.
Jabari, fueled by righteous anger, shared his story with the other young men of Kilima. He spoke of Mama Amina's plight, of the fear that choked their village, of the stolen harvests and broken spirits. His words, passionate and raw, ignited a spark in their hearts.
The young men, hardened by years of toil and simmering resentment, gathered under the watchful gaze of the moon. They were farmers and hunters, their hands calloused but strong. They listened as Jabari spoke, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames of the campfire. A spirit of defiance, long dormant, began to stir.
They spoke in hushed tones, their words weaving a tapestry of resistance. They knew the risks, the danger of challenging Mbogo's authority, but they also knew they could no longer bear the weight of his oppression.
The spirit of the savannah, wild and untamed, flowed through them. They were the sons and grandsons of Kilima, and they would fight for their land, their families, their very souls. The time for fear was over. The time for action had arrived.
Word of the rebellion, whispered from one villager to another, spread through Kilima like wildfire. The elders, their eyes reflecting years of hardship, offered their blessings. The women, their faces etched with a mix of fear and hope, prepared food and bandages.
Under the cover of darkness, we marched towards Mbogo's compound, united in our purpose.
Their voices rose in unison, a chorus of defiance that echoed through the night. They carried torches, their flames casting dancing shadows on the walls of Mbogo's opulent hut. Mbogo, roused from his slumber by the commotion, emerged from his hut. He stood there, his eyes wide with disbelief as the villagers surrounded him.
We demanded justice, our voices shaking with righteous anger. We demanded the return of our stolen land, the end of his tyranny.
Mbogo, accustomed to blind obedience, stammered and blustered. He threatened them with his guards, with exile, with death, but his words fell on deaf ears. The villagers, emboldened by their unity, stood firm. They had found their voice, and they would not be silenced again. Jabari, his voice ringing with the courage of his convictions, stepped forward. He recounted the injustices perpetrated by Mbogo, the suffering he had inflicted upon their village.
He spoke of Mama Amina, her land stolen, her spirit unbroken.
The villagers, their anger reaching a fever pitch, surged forward. They tore down the fences surrounding Mbogo's compound, their shouts of defiance echoing through the night. They set fire to his opulent hut, the flames consuming his ill-gotten wealth. Mbogo, realizing the tide had turned, fled into the darkness. He vanished into the night, his reign of terror finally at an end. The villagers watched his retreating figure, their faces a mixture of triumph and relief. The reign of the ruthless chief was over. As dawn painted the sky with hues of hope, the villagers gathered in the heart of Kilima. The ashes of Mbogo's tyranny mingled with the rising sun, symbolizing a new beginning. They danced and sang, their voices filled with a joy they had almost forgotten. The villagers, their spirits rekindled, set about rebuilding their lives. They elected a council of elders, their wisdom tempered by experience, to govern Kilima. Mama Amina, her land restored, became a revered figure, her resilience an inspiration to all. Kilima, once shrouded in fear and silence, blossomed under the warmth of freedom and democracy.
Laughter rang out once more. The rhythm of drums pulsed through the air. Children played freely, their eyes no longer clouded with apprehension.
The fields, once depleted by Mbogo's greed, flourished under the care of the villagers. The harvest was bountiful, shared equitably among the people. New homes were built, schools and a market established. Kilima, once a symbol of oppression, became a beacon of hope. Travelers passing through Kilima spoke of its transformation, of the spirit of its people, of the joy that radiated from its very core. The fall of the ruthless chief had given birth to a new era, an era of unity, prosperity, and above all, freedom.